Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Conspiracy Keepers. I thought this would be fun for 3/3/22. Got
Yeah.
Joe Monaco, Scooter
Mhm.
McGee, and me, Silky Sonic. I don't know what I'm calling myself these days, Jackie, I guess.
I like it.
Yeah, so Scooter has been reporting every night on his YouTube channel, doing at least a half an hour on news related to the Ukrainian invasion. Isn't that right, Scooter?
It is, but the story is exponentially growing, hence the map change, because the focus of the Ukraine and Belarus brings up the problem because they're alleging down at the Sea of Azov that Odessa, which is the port in the south, is being taken. Well, lest we forget that Russia has the port up here in the Baltic, and the design is to close, which then brings the other NATO countries in the region into play. So, and then the bigger story that I did cover last night, I will tonight again, that I think is only exponentially going to grow. Cuba in the United Nations vote, hugely symbolic. All of this nonsense of the meetings and diplomacy is symbolic. But those who voted in support of the resolution, condemning Russia, the 5 countries that voted and the countries that abstained, and how quickly America forgets the war in the Cold War status with the former Soviet Union and Cuba. And all of the sanctions that were imposed on Cuba were supposed to end when Fidel died. No, they were going to end when his brother Raul Castro, who was leader, died. Well, the sanctions have never worked. And they know poverty like anyone better else other than Haiti in the Western Hemisphere. And because of these sanctions and demonizing all the Russians, what's going to come of the Russian tea room in New York City? What's going to become of all the great Russian people who live across the United States who have businesses and restaurants and whatevers?
Yeah.
Is demonization so quickly polarizing a group that was already polarized because of COVID? But the joke, of course, COVID is over because the media needs the war to cover. War is profitable. Sickness is profitable.
Oh, sure.
And I think the first real major crisis, here's what's going on in the Ukraine. Look what just popped in the Gulf of Mexico, Cuba. That has been, and even though when he was vice president, one of the few things I applauded Obama for doing was relieving many of the restrictions and sanctions on Cuba regarding sending money, technology, blue jeans, medicine. Americans could go back. And then when Trump came in, I demonized him for this. Trump put the sanctions back on and the travel restrictions came back on. So Americans couldn't go back down to Cuba.
Okay,
the Cuban people suffer, and I think that's where the next problem in for the West and for the U.S. is going to be Cuba, because of how they voted yesterday in the UN.
Okay, do you have your chess set out? Because all you have to do is move the pawns around. Okay, You're saying names of pawns: Obama, Trump.
Yeah. Right.
Biden, okay, Putin.
Putin, yep, they're all in.
These are all just
noticeably absent from the State of the Union address.
Putin.
China. Yeah. 43 minutes on the Ukraine, Putin, everything else. China was never mentioned in the State of the Union.
Now, I hate to say it, but talk about a group that was already, kind of marginalized after living in San Francisco where there's tons of Asians. I'm the minority when I was living in San Francisco. There's not very many white people, 17% white people in the city of San Francisco. Now, when Trump came out and started giving heck to China about the China flu, the China this, the China that, and then Chinese people were seeing people slur at them even more. And I'm sorry, but it really does happen that way. And people trying to pour Russian vodka down the drain. Listen, it's Lithuania where or is it Slovakia where the vodka is made now? It used to be part of the Soviet Union, but it's not Russian.
Yeah, I hear you.
They're
Right.
symbols.
Mhm.
And I brought up that the symbols are for the symbol minded. And Jackie, you're right that this is a chess game, but the Western media is claiming that Putin is a madman and doesn't know what he's doing. He's out of control. The nuclear threat is real. No, he is using classic Cold War textbook maneuvering because all we do is demonize and condemn. And again, we're already calling for a war crimes trial. You got to catch the guy first.
Oh, it's
No
just,
one
yeah.
wants to talk about meeting force with overwhelming force. They're waiting for the madman.
Listen,
Meanwhile,
yeah.
they are rapidly shifting wealth, and they're getting a whole new group of people to demand the internet be shut down and shut their power. Solid, make them go. Well, you're turning them into a mob. And if they can have us do that, it's a matter of time then before we go on ourselves.
I can pretty much guarantee you what they're doing as far as, our media is way different than what the Russian media is and what our people are being told, what their people are being told. I can pretty much guarantee you they're doing the same tactics that they did with us and the Iraq war as to why we're over there, to get the people behind it. Oh, Saddam, he's got weapons of mass destruction. He's gassing his own people, blah, blah. I can guarantee you they're doing the same thing in Russia.
Yes.
Oh, the Ukraine, they've got weapons of mass destruction. They're gassing their own people. We've got, these people they never change their game plan. They do the same thing over and over. And I guarantee you that's what they're doing over in Russia. And that's why the people
correct, Joe.
Yeah.
You are correct. Russian media was reporting that Ukraine was wanting to get a bomb. No, they gave up their bombs. Nice try, but the people don't know that. And what is amazing, from St. Petersburg to Moscow and Leningrad, tens of thousands of Soviets are now marching in the street. That's forcing the Russian Federation to have an emergency meeting. They may have to declare martial law because the riot police and the KGB and the FSB out beating up people and arresting. What's frightening is people who lived through World War II were being arrested in Leningrad the other night. This is for Putin, it's a PR nightmare. But with the ATMs out of money, the food lines and everything else, the last time the Soviets saw a food line was in the 80s. Now they're all standing in a food line with their smartphone. This is not going to go well very quickly.
Let's not forget that this is everything is a game. Okay?
Yes, right.
This is a game, and the reason
by design.
Yeah, sure. The reason this is firing up so much. I mean, think about the Crimean invasion. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't lighting up the American media the way it is. There wasn't all this propaganda coming through. Guess why? Because COVID wasn't on the table. They had to have some other thing post-COVID to scare people to death.
Yeah, you are absolutely correct on that. Yeah, it's basically, the movie War Games had a lot of truth to it. And we know that they do that with their predictive programming because the same people that own the media, the same people that own the politicians, the same people that own the movie industry, the same people that own Hollywood are all the same people. So that's why they know so much about what's going on. They interchange, information, their secret society. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It's just a big game and they're all in on it.
Yeah, and we're not, as George Carlin would
say.
And
we're not. That's right. Yeah, right. It's a big club, and you and I ain't in it.
Yeah, what I like to, Dark Journalist says this, and I really like it. He goes, there's what you see on mainstream TV. There's what you see on all these, silly little apps, this one, that one, BitChute, Rumble, da-da-da-da. Certainly there's truth in there, but there's a lot of junk journalism in there. Mm-hmm. And the true journalist has to look between them. Yeah. And underneath these two, big streams of information, you got to go underneath to get the truth in.
And the true journalists don't have a platform anymore. That has been taken over by these people. So we don't have. I mean, this is as close as you guys are going to get to it. I mean, not you guys, but our listeners.
Sure.
Because it's going to be subjected to people like us now, because they're not going to give us a platform. We're not going to get on MSNBC or CNN or Fox, which, by the way, are owned by the same people. Yeah, so this is what it's come to.
Mm-hmm. So that's why it's important, again, for us to come on, and even if we can, have one person listen to us, because we used to be on the radio or whatever, we have a certain amount of credibility with people, and people know I would never talk about something I didn't believe in wholeheartedly. From
Right.
after all the years I was on the radio, I would never ever endorse anything that I didn't fully believe in.
Right.
I'm not an idiot. I don't come on there and say, hey, take these pills and you're going to lose weight. I mean, I never did, I never did. So this is why it's important to get the real information out there. And if you know what they want to accomplish, you know what I mean? The powerful ones, the people who are operating in the dark, so forth, the oligarchs, fine. Want to talk about Russia? Let's talk about the oligarchs. I mean, they operate in, their corruption is in plain sight in Russia.
Isn't it funny? And now, Jackie, you brought up oligarchs. Isn't it funny? They want to demonize the Russian oligarchs. What about the rest of the oligarchs? Panamanian oligarchs, the Brazilian oligarchs, the the Canadian oligarchs, the Mexican oligarchs, the American oligarchs. Oh, they're bad ones. We all good. No.
Or what about Germany? That's a hotbed for naughtiness. Always has been.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So we were talking to Joe about the about the investment opportunities in the Russian currency at this time. It doesn't hold any value, does it?
Question. It's too late to short the ruble because it's a penny on the dollar.
Yeah.
I asked Joe, hey, because the Russians are trying to trade it for currency to get out because the ruble is worthless. Well, no, the perception is wealth doesn't just disappear. It goes somewhere.
Yeah.
So if they're collapsing $1, well, look at Bitcoin. Okay, fine. If anybody's got a ruble out there they want to sell, find me on my YouTube channel, Scooter McGee on YouTube. Send me, I will buy rubles. I will pay double the current exchange.
Well, that's, that same concept, that's how the Rothschilds initially got control over the world's monetary system, because they had control of the media at one time. And when they spread the rumor, that Napoleon had won, and that crashed the market, and they just sat back there and bought things up for pennies on the dollar. And that's really how they started their domination of the world's economy, by the same tactics, in a sense, that you were just talking about. So yeah, this is the time that you want to get stuff like that, is when the market has crashed, because what the Rothschilds say, you buy stocks when there's blood in the streets. What they mean is where everything is in the red, and that's when you buy stuff.
You better believe it. Red and blood. You better believe it,
that's
Joe.
right.
Yeah,
exactly. That's right.
Because the last opportunities that I dropped, as I shared with Jackie off air, was after 9/11. Now, remember, there was shorting stock and all that monkey business, but when the markets finally reopened, there's the scroll, and certain stocks were tanking.
Yeah,
I looked at Nightclub Dad
American
and I said,
Airlines.
hey, should I buy this? He goes, no, it'll be gone in a year. They're still here, and their stock's back up. All things considered, now that the Russian markets have been closed for 4 days, and potentially this is disastrous for global economies, just because they're trading bonds and they're over-the-counter rates. The Federal Reserve is about to really shaft America by raising the rates. Well, where's the opportunity to make money? Because there's money out there to be made. And I'm not suggesting we're a financial anything show. I was curious about the ruble.
The money to be made is not going to be made for me and you. I hate to tell you this.
Yes, I know. Yeah,
this is not a get-rich quick scheme for middle-class Americans. This is
rich at all. They won't
get rich scheme for the people who already have the money, honey.
That's right. And go ahead. Go ahead, Jackie.
Well, I was just going to tie in the fact we were talking about Napoleon and the Rothschilds and stuff like that. Well, the fact that any one of these movements, Black Lives Matter, the wrecking of all the buildings downtown, or having people go and protest somewhere and smashing out windows and stuff like that, so businesses will retreat. And then you had COVID, so businesses will retreat. So guess who comes in and buys the real estate? Not me, not you, not the everyday investor. BlackRock. BlackRock.
That's right.
They own all real estate everywhere. They own
do.
every loan.
Yeah, you are absolutely right on that.
So, there's the whole idea is to make people leave the prosperous areas, get them into centers where they can control us with these gates we talked about earlier, with the electronic gate around us. I mean, we're
Andopolis.
Sure. I was talking to my sister about something, and I go, well, that's okay. Younger people are going to be, they're grooming them to become part of the Borg. And people like us who just aren't buying it, you look at a biker who's really old or whatever, and, see the feathered haired guy at the grocery store with no mask, no matter what season it was, not wearing a mask. These are the people they want to get rid of with poison in the sky, poison in the
No
food.
sooner did they announce the mask mandates are over, people are mad because they told my son him still to take a job. You want to be called, and you want to be, I don't want to take Adam Carolla's line, but this is crate training. You no longer are listening or following to the science. You believe your authorities to be gods. You're following a dogma. It's frightening.
We should have had mask burning parties the minute they lifted.
I know,
the
right?
thing.
Yeah.
Am I right? Because if you think
Yeah.
that it's ever going away, it isn't. People are going to tuck their little masks away in their
They will.
drawer.
They said that at all the things they were telegraphing at the State of the Union. It was one big gaslighting. Oh, but COVID is here to stay, but we're not going to put troops in Ukraine. Whatever.
Well,
you can't have your cake and eat it too here.
Well, he said in the speech, we're going to investigate COVID fraud. And then by the end of the speech, he's saying COVID's coming back and we got a pill. So.
Right. And we're going to investigate COVID fraud. But again, back to China, we can't investigate where it came from.
Well, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I think they are going to kind of back away from that and move on to something else. I mean, they can't come out.
Taiwan very quickly.
Yeah, probably so. But I think they can't just say, well, COVID is over and we're moving on. So, but that's kind of what they're doing when they and March 1st was a key. They dropped the mask mandates, and I woke up this morning to the NFL, and it says the NFL reached an agreement with the players' union to suspend all COVID testing protocols for 2022. And then the headlines are, the NFL is making a return to normalcy in 2022. It's a miracle.
Well, the
COVID
NFL
has just dropped overnight. No more NFL.
It's over.
It's ridiculous. I mean, yeah, it's over. No more protocols. No more testing. No more masks. You don't have to do that anymore. So,
well, I'm just
they're
saying
backing off of this a little bit.
The NFL season is over.
Yeah. But
and America's favorite pastime, Major League Baseball's 2022 season has been opening day is canceled. That's it. We don't have, so the first at least 3 scheduled games, but now it's Thursday. No, the first week is scrubbed. It should have been scrubbed Sunday, but they kept drawing it out because they were in intense negotiations.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything. You're jerking everybody around.
Well, I think here's what's happening, and they kind of surprised me on this when they kind of lifted these mandates kind of quickly. I had figured that they were going to march this until the end, is what I thought. I thought, okay, they're not going to stop until they're going to force everybody to get the jab, and you won't be able to work, you won't be able to go to the store, you won't be able to do anything unless you get this jab. That's where I thought that they were going, and I think that's what they wanted. But like we've talked about before, they've got a whopper computer. They really have them out there to where they can test the minds of the people. They can test the waters. They know what's going on. They know when they're getting pushed back. They know when to go far enough. And I think they wanted to go there with it, but they kind of underestimated the people that are against it. And I think that the trucker strike in Canada was kind of key to this. Okay, there's a group of people that aren't going to put up with this. So they're going to back off this a little bit. And they kind of surprised me because I think they wanted to go there to where you can't do anything unless you get the jab. But they decided, okay, we'll back off this a little bit and let's go with the war thing now, I think is what happened.
Of course.
Yeah.
Do you think the Canadian trucker movement created so much buzz because, not to make fun of maple syrup and Rocky the Moose and Bullwinkle, but the Canadians were just always very laid back. And I hate to bring up, the liberal side of the media and people like Michael Moore, but Michael Moore showing the peaceful, no, everything's great world, and we don't even need guns. Our doors are open. But now they're starting creating problems. Oh, man, if the Canadians are figuring it out, these pesky Americans and others may figure it out. I don't know. Is it because of again, I agree about the supercomputer.
Maybe
but is it because the Canadians did it?
No, I think there's a lot of things. I think that weighed heavily in their decisions. But here's what I think what happened in the beginning. I think that they were kind of surprised at the success they had with pushing around 90% of the population with these mandates. I don't think they thought it was going to be this easy. They're going, wow, this is easy. We didn't think it was going to be this easy. So they kept it up. They kept the accelerator on for a long time, for 2 years. And then when their stats showed, okay, everybody's going to get the jab, has already got it. The ones that are against it now are not going to do it. So we don't need to push this anymore. We can move on to something else. So I think they were surprised in two things: how easy it was in the beginning and how hard it is right now, because they're getting pushback that they didn't expect.
Okay.
Let's just, move on to another
Yeah,
little card in the
exactly.
deck, man.
Yeah, let's
Move the
on to
pawns
wars now.
around.
That's right.
We were talking about fear, and Jackie, you just brought up bringing another card. Following back to San Francisco, you saw that story I sent you regarding be very, very scared. Something is right around the corner in California. I did not, however, share it with Joe.
Oh,
I
okay.
did share both of you that blast.
Okay, I will.
Joe, this
let me
one's
open it.
good. I forgot. I should have sent this to you. I sent it to Jackie because of San Francisco.
Okay, this is pretty fun.
This ties into it, though. Play
Okay.
a card. Keep them afraid.
Yeah,
yeah, right.
this is from the 4-color fish wrapper called the USA Today. Thank you for that line, Scooter.
It's America's favorite 4-color fish wrap, the USA Today.
A massive quake could strike the San Francisco Bay Area at any moment. When it does, the city will never be the same. Scientists are preparing. Okay, that's been the same. Everyone's known that since the beginning of time.
Sure.
Since the movie Earthquake back in the
No,
70s.
since the actual earthquake that burned half the city down in the early 1900s.
When wasn't that Victoria Principal when she wore an afro?
Here, I don't know, but then the 1989 problem, the Prieta earthquake, and then I was there when the Napa one. I was living there when the Napa one went off, and it shook me out of the bed, all the way down in San Francisco.
Yeah, was that 1994, the earthquake in Northridge? Because I was out there for that. And I was the same way. I mean, I literally had to hold on to my bed to stay in there because I lived in San Pedro at the time.
You did?
I did, yeah. And it was kind of eerie going out to your door, and San Pedro is kind of up on a hill, so you can see the city lights, and there's no lights. Everything's out. It knocked all the lights out. It was pretty eerie to see that happening.
Well, they certainly can't have San Francisco feeling good about taking their masks off. Now they're going to have to roll that up. I mean, from the newspaper, this is not helpful. Do you think that people are really feeling good about stuff right now? I mean, that's just, that's what makes me so dang mad about all of this, is that people are buying into the fear. And,
I know. I know.
But again, Jackie, when was that story? Because that one popped right on my headline. So that wasn't like I found that from 18 months ago. That story literally came out right either before the State of the Union or right after.
Yeah.
And it was tied into the United Nations Security Council earlier today, issuing a staunch report regarding the grave problems of climate change and that we're all about to die. What the?
Here it is.
Oh.
Let's see. Oh gosh. Disaster remains theoretical for now, but the United States Geological Survey estimates 51% chance that the quake, as big as the one described in Haywire, so the 89 one, could happen in the region within 3 decades. Yeah, we know. Well, why bring it up now? It has unless they're going to set it off with the satellites.
Could be. It could be. That could
the
be
movie is
more predictive programming.
1974 Earthquake.
Yeah.
74. Oh, that is so funny. Don't watch 70s movies. They're too weird.
I want to make sure it's Victoria Principal and an afro and that I don't get crucified here.
You got to go by the Selby family rule. No 70s movies. They're too weird.
It is the movie is various interconnected people struggle to survive when an earthquake of unimaginable magnitude hits Los Angeles, California.
Oh, Lord.
5.9 out of 10 stars.
It's bad.
And I'm getting the cast. This is I get the IMDb page. So
okay. This
nothing
thing about
wrong with 70s movies.
No, don't do it unless it's very late 70s and it really is the early 80s. Anyway, the thing about Canada, here's what bugs me about the people aren't realizing that the Canadian trucker thing, they came in there and rousted them out of there. They were peacefully protesting.
Mm.
Who's more peaceful than a Canadian?
Yeah, right.
Nobody,
Mm.
right? Then the people who were donating, citizens like whoever, me, you, whoever we know, donating to help them out because those guys were leaving their jobs to go out and protest, right?
Mm.
Well, the
Right.
Canadian government freezing those assets
Mm.
and also freezing and investigating the people who donated.
And the company, the third-party app, GoFundMe, did it. Just because you order somebody to do it, no, you did it. So now to a great group of people, GoFundMe now is worthless. Oh, you'll fund this, but you won't fund that.
Oh,
And if you do, if you give your money and then GoFundMe says, well, no, we're going to give it to somebody else we approve.
Okay.
No, that's not where I intended my money to go.
If you don't think as a Canadian, again, this is their problem, they're too nice, that your government is at war with you, has declared war on you.
Oh, yeah.
James Corbett said this, and I am with him 100%. It's so brilliant. Because if you don't think that they've declared war against you, you're not listening. Because they're seizing assets of normal people. Aren't we allowed to give to whatever charity we want to or whatever cause we want to? I mean, come on, this is the bigger problem. And they demonized protesters from the White House.
Right. And I think what happened with that Canadian protest, because what they want to do is freeze their bank accounts, and I think that they did that to a certain degree. And I was telling people, I said, you know what, they're going to want to do that here. That's the test case. And I think, I'm not sure what happened. I don't have access to their Whopper computer, but I think whatever that they did didn't work. So their test case didn't work in Canada. So therefore they didn't bring it here. And I think something happened with that whole thing to where they decided to back off of it because they want to freeze everybody's bank accounts. They want to do that here.
They're gonna.
So I think something,
They're going to, right.
Oh, I think they're going to try. But I think something happened with that to where they decided that wasn't going to work. And I think that's why they're backing off of this right now.
They keep hitting a snag, and it doesn't matter. They have plenty of cards left in the deck, and they have plenty of pawns left on the board. Plenty.
And they have plenty of stooges that'll go along with it because the people are just naive and they're blind to this stuff.
And coming out of winter, here's a new talking point in the Western media of metrosexuals with man buns and pants too tight around their ankles. There's a little bit of Putin in all of us, and Putin's being aggressive. Aggressive is being bad, but there's a little Putin in all of us. By the way, if we can't short the ruble, we should be making T-shirts and selling that and be making a bunch. I know that my mafia brain is dirty right now. But how Putin's being aggressive. And we brought on today psychologist Dr. Who Cares, we stand, and he says that, and that becomes the talking point.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But like Jackie was talking earlier, remember Putin's a pawn. He's a puppet himself. He's been told to do this. These world leaders that we see on TV,
I think
they aren't giving orders. They're taking orders from people above them, and they're all part of the game.
But there's, as I said before, you guys, there is something that they cannot. The people who vibrate at the lower vibrations, who are doing these things, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They don't have the same things we do. They feed on a lower vibration.
They do, right?
They don't have compassion for other people.
They're not capable of loving. Love is that's a foreign emotion to them. They can't do it. And they don't like that we can.
That's what I'm saying. They are trying to rob us of that very special thing that some of us don't even realize we have.
That's right.
And that's what I want to tell people is you're so much bigger than anybody with, billions of dollars. We're better. We're bigger. Money doesn't make the world
It's one thing
around.
to say they're the puppets, but let me ask this question. Hey, last week I joked about when I see the ribbons, I'm going to lose it. And Jackie, okay.
They started. Oh my goodness sakes.
It's frightening. And I think, Joe, 2 weeks ago or 10 days ago, I asked point blank, hey, do you think that Putin and Xi had a conversation, before, or was it handlers, or how that would have worked? Well, now even the Western media reporting, oh yeah, they shared intelligence, and where China asked Russia not to go before the end of the Olympics. This is all coming out very quickly, hindsight being 2020, unless, because the comment about puppets, here's my question. Are we the puppets being played?
Well, that's the attempt.
Knowing that, well, they're going to do this, and so certain groups are just going to naturally act like that. So even though we think we see the puppet being their strings pulled, outside the box looking at it, are we the puppets being played? Even though, yeah, we saw that, we said that. Doesn't matter. Nobody's listening. Nobody cares, because they believe what they already believe. You're not going to change them.
I think that there is a little bit of doubt in every single person. I really do, about what they're seeing on TV. Because if you watched Biden in that speech, the State of the Union, was it even really in an official building in the Capitol?
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
Did it look like the same chamber to me?
I thought about that too.
The gallery's always full and crammed. Everything was filled.
Really small.
You have the seat in between everyone for Elijah. What? Okay. Yeah.
And go look at some tape about other presidents giving speeches. The vice president and the speaker are much farther away, much. So they must have rebuilt that dais so that they could be closer, because you saw Nancy spitting out part of it's just like it was a play. She was spitting out the lines to the man. How did they put so much Botox in his face that he couldn't close his eyes and his cheeks weren't moving? Maybe Botox is something that makes the Alzheimer's better.
Yeah.
I know it helps migraines.
Well, it almost seems like he's a complete mind control victim, puppet himself, to where he doesn't have any recollection or even knowledge of what he's doing. He's like it's like he's completely under a spell, completely under a trance, and completely controlled.
Why is he going like this?
Yeah.
He got up to the dais. He grabs both copies of the speech. He clearly looked down at both of them, turns around, looks up, and has to figure out again which.
I'm sorry for him. I'm not saying that, you guys, I'm trying to point out that the man is suffering from severe disability.
Yeah.
And Pelosi, the one who looked the most in present, who wasn't, was Kamala Harris. Nancy Pelosi, in my opinion, did not even appear to be present in the room. She couldn't sit still. She fidgeted. The whole clapping and the squirrel behavior and everything else, and the points in the speech where she was just playing with the papers that, of course, turn out to be blank. When you screenshot it, look, there's nothing written on the paper.
Yeah, and we've seen that before. That they've done that same trick before. But I'm not sure that Biden is going to make it through his term, and I'm not sure he was supposed to make it through his term. I think they've given us some hints of that in the past, about that there's going to be a future president that's going to die in office.
Jill Biden,
a female will be the president. Yeah, Gerald Ford had hinted to that.
Introduced Kamala Harris as the president, and then said, that's right, just making a joke to make you laugh.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that is their plan, and that's why he's there, and that's why we see him deteriorating like that right before us, because he's not supposed to last through this whole term.
It'll be the new deadly variant.
Yeah, no doubt,
Did you see Dan Bongino's producers taped or cut the tape of, when the first time he said Iranians instead of Ukrainians, and then Kamala Harris was sitting behind him and went, but she couldn't say anything, I would have tapped him on the shoulder. That is Ukrainian.
Right,
they kept playing that over and over and over in the Dan Bongino.
And build the wall high enough, and the vaccine can't. What?
I know he got stuck a couple of times, and it's become cringeworthy because I feel so sorry for him. Like, his humanness is gone. You know what I mean, Joe?
It is completely gone. And I think
Rust Belt, it should be a new. And Nancy just went to the paper going, "Where is he?"
Well, I think that's a requirement for any president before he gets into office. He's got to be a psychopath, sociopath, because they don't want anybody that can feel. They don't want anybody who's got human emotion. They don't want anybody up there who can see innocent people being killed across the ocean or even at home and feel bad about them, want to do something. They want complete puppets that have no emotion whatsoever. I think that's what they want. And if they don't want a president in there that has any compassion at all. That won't work for these people that are controlling the strings. By the way, I want to add something, and I think you guys will appreciate this. I went to a Shakira concert when she was in Denver in 2003, and it was really interesting because I think she's kind of a slave herself. She's got handlers. There was a video above her. She never even mentioned this, but there was a chessboard, and there was George Bush and Saddam Hussein were playing chess together, and they both had strings attached to them with these evil hands controlling them. And this video went on for probably 2 or 3 minutes. She didn't mention it. Nobody mentioned it. It just went up and it was gone. So these people that are controlling all these people, even the concerts, even people like Shakira, they're all part of it. They know what's going on. And they'll give us hints like that sometimes. And people that are aware will see it. Most people won't.
Right. Most people won't see it. That's right.
How about this festive little headline? This is a good one. On CNN, breaking. During some of the heaviest shelling in the city of Kharkiv. Thank you. Kharkiv. My glasses are poor. Former primary school teacher, and it gives his name, Ivan, has been traveling throughout the city and taking care of unaccompanied minors. Locals have started to call him the kid finder.
A local hero. And that's CNN.
Wait, for his seemingly supernatural ability to find young boys who don't have anyone to protect them.
Of course.
Supernatural ability to find little kids.
Right.
Little boys.
Right. Oh my God.
That was reported on CNN.
That pedophile ring is so much more than people think it is. It is all over the place, and it's rampant in Hollywood. I suspect if you think some of your favorite A-list actors and actresses aren't part of that, you would be shocked at how many people are into this.
You know, there's a really good reporter who's making movies about the southern border crisis, and he's been following the dope.
Sean Penn?
No. No, his name's George. Let me get his channel. But he's made 2 documentaries. He's so dang clever, you guys. Because he just has it completely right. He's been following the holes in the border wall, you know, that one at Yuma. And the cartel is just bringing kids over, guns over.
Oh, yeah, right.
And then he follows the money to these farms in different parts of the desert in California, where farms are going up and, you know, they're covered. And that's where they're growing dope, and they're smuggling in the fentanyl. And the kids are changing. And they also have, he illuminates human slaves, you know, not just, and I don't mean just children, but I mean people from other countries. They put them in containers and bring them over there to do their bidding.
Sure. Yeah, they do. Absolutely they do.
What is his name? Well, I'll find it. You guys go ahead and talk amongst yourselves. He's so good. Oh my gosh. His little movies are great. His name is George. He's Hispanic, but he's from Los Angeles.
They're going to find Jorge dead somewhere with 3 suicide notes and 2 butcher knives in his back.
Yeah.
He was very troubled.
Yeah.
But he kept to himself. He was very quiet. That'll be the other thing from the neighbors. Always so quiet. Never knew.
Yeah, I just think it's just people just have no idea what's going on out there. You know, these dark entities out there that are controlling things, and people that you know and like and see on TV all the time. They're not who you think they are.
Okay, I found him.
Predictions of what's next.
Okay, quick. Can I really quick? I found the fellow I want you guys to follow and look at. His name is Jorge Ventura. So it's Jorge Ventura TV. Anyways, and he's made a couple of movies, and he just goes right in there with his microphone, and he's pretty fearless. And he was interviewing the heroes. He made one documentary just came out about the Los Angeles teachers and first responders and firemen who are getting fired for not getting the jab. From heroes to zeros is the name of the film. It's really good and really challenging. But then he also has the one all about the border from just at Christmas time. Anyway, really great reporter, independent reporter.
Yeah, and it almost has to be like that now, because anybody that has any kind of call letters behind them now, you know, they're not going to be allowed to talk.
He's got the Shasta County sheriff on his side in Northern California there, Scooter.
Okay.
Because the sheriffs are the way to go on this, because they're the constitutional government.
Again, it's something we don't talk about. In my circle, everyone knows why. Many don't realize this. You know, it's one thing to talk about the men and women of all of law enforcement and first responders. With the city you live in, the township, whatever you call it, is controlled by the counties, and the counties have sheriffs. And in the state of Colorado, the way our Constitution is written, the number one lawman is not the attorney general. The number one lawman is not the governor. The number one lawman is not, it is the sheriff of the county that the environment is happening. And I'm very versed in this, so much so that in the chain of command, how can you get rid of a sheriff? The only one who can do it was in Weld County was the coroner. The coroner could say, hey, you know what? Sorry, pal, you got to go.
The coroner?
And it was the days of the Wild West. You know, the townspeople don't like the sheriff. Well, a third party comes. Every town didn't have a coroner, but the state did. So was the medical guy. A third party professional opinion. That was when it was drafted in 1876, I think is Colorado. Forgive me. But it's
That's
one
cool.
thing. I know my neighbor down the street's a cop. Your cop's been enforcing the mask mandate in many places or not. It's the sheriff's deputies and how they behave and respond as if you know you're in a friendly area or not. And knowing sheriff's deputies and everyone, go meet your sheriff. The sheriff's in his desk. He'd love to have you come in and sit down and have a cup of coffee and exchange what's going on in your neighborhood. Nice to meet you, John. Nice to meet you, Mary. Hey, again, this whole, they're ready to kill it. No, they need to know what their constituents want them to be doing. Why? Because they want to maintain peace, because it maintains their job.
Yeah, in Denver, the Denver County Sheriff, I'm sure you see those vans of prisoners going up and down I-70. Those guys are going to the Denver County Sheriff facility there on I-70 at Smith Road. Isn't that where it is, Scooter?
Well, not to divulge where they're going, but yeah, again, it's the transport vehicles.
Yeah, but that's
and I-70 infamous for don't stop and pick up hitchhikers. Why? Because the jail's right.
Yeah, but that's not the Denver City Jail. That is the county.
Versus county.
That's right. You do not want to be sent to county. Can I just tell you? I've heard of people who went to county, and it's not a pretty place.
No.
There's the movie I was talking to you about. From Hero to Zero is his latest documentary. Very good stuff, you guys.
Jorge Ventura.
Yeah.
I did write it down.
Great young kid. I mean, his brain and his courage is what's going to keep this planet one whole planet.
So back to my question of agreeing a chess game and playing another card. Any other headlines like the earthquake keep them scared, global warming keep them scared, but can either of you predict what may be another of the cards we know that they've played in the past that they'll regurgitate? Because again, I thought the story of earthquake was funny. By the way, I'm not being a jackass. It was Victoria Principal, 1974. She played the girl for the guy who was the motorcycle stuntman, and he was African American, and so she wore an afro and black leather. That's how I remember her. Sorry.
Good grief.
I was a little boy.
Yeah.
But that was 1974, and that was the big hype, because Earthquake was one of those movies when you went into the theater, that the chairs, because the sound system would shake. It was supposed to be like you felt it. The movie Earthquake.
Oh yeah, right. I
1974.
remember that.
Okay, right. Yes. They did that for Backdraft and
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Right.
what
if
were the
we
other
know
ones that
they
had that?
regurgitated cards, what maybe they try and bring up next?
I don't know, but it's just going to be a whole bunch of other stuff. I mean, if you have to remember the end game,
Yeah.
and then you'll see
Yeah.
the path. The end game
Yeah.
is to have us all think the same way,
Right.
and to become, they want to get rid of a whole bunch of us.
Right. And they want to collapse the economy. They want us to pay $10 for a loaf of bread. Okay. They want food shortages. So watch for that. They want everything that's going to make you poor. They don't want you to own anything. They don't like private property.
And
So
be
watch
happy.
for that.
Own
What's that?
nothing and be happy.
And be happy. I
Yeah,
can
that's
tell you
right.
that I went to the store today and I have a budget because I'm on a budget. And I have a budget for groceries for the month. And I was blowing through the store today and I was getting, the things that I like. I like dates for my sweets, I like, I get organic vegetables when I can, especially fruits and things with thin skins and stuff like that. And I didn't get just 4 bags, of just a few staples, beans, dried things, By the way, the store is allowed to have those dried the bins where you serve yourself, the bulk
Mhm.
items.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They told me today, the lady at Sprouts, oh, we're allowed to use the bins again. People can go and help themselves.
It's a miracle.
It's what?
A miracle.
It's a miracle. Another miracle. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
it's a
telling us
miracle.
how we can dispense our own groceries, how we can choose our
Yeah,
groceries.
right,
I mean, it's
right.
crazy. But anyways, I only had 4 little bags and they weren't even too heavy for me to carry. Now, if it's a lot of stuff, I can't
I
carry 4 or
know.
5 bags. I have to make 2 trips.
$100,
$105.
I know.
which would normally be 50. I was thinking 4 bags, $50.
Exactly.
And yeah, and another thing that I'm afraid is going to be
Really
happening
bad.
sooner than later is everybody that's gotten the jab, watch for some really nasty sicknesses going on that they're going to blame on something for everybody
Joe, we
that's gotten
still
the jab.
don't know what happened to Bob Saget.
Okay. We're never going to know. But I think what I've heard is somewhere between 1 and 3 years, everybody that's gotten the jab is going to come down with some pretty nasty stuff. And I'm not sure how they're going to explain it, what they're going to blame it on, but that's what it's going to be.
It's also a combination of things, right? It's not just the.
It's not just that. Right.
It's the turning on of 5G. It's the stuff in the sky today. You guys,
Absolutely.
We had beautiful blue skies yesterday. And then by the time I went to take the dog on his last outing last night, in the dark, I could see the streaks in the sky in the dark.
Yeah.
They trailed here all day.
There's no sunshine out here today.
Yeah, they did it here all day today as well. Yeah. It was completely overcast at one time in the west because of that. And it would have been a completely clear day had it not been for that.
So what happens to people when a large amount of people get sick all at once? There's profit to be made.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely.
Ooh, where are those shares in healthcare?
Mm-hmm. So that's not going to be free.
Sorry.
That's something that's coming up.
Sorry,
no, you're right. You are right.
And some people say, well, hey, that stuff's making me money. It's keeping food on the table for my family. Well, that's okay. You can think that way. But
I am going to go outside and start dipping rocks, half blue, half yellow. And I'm going to go downtown and sell them to the secretaries. Pet Ukrainian rocks. Would you please adopt an Iranian rock orphan?
That's actually a good idea.
It's a good idea. I think I'll get started.
That would actually sell.
And I'll wear a little bit. We all have what did I say? We all have a little Putin in all of us. No, we don't.
I cannot get over the face of Joe Biden at that talk at the State of the Union. His face was absolutely not moving and his eyes were so squinty.
Yeah.
What's with the whispering? We're gonna be okay. What's with the whispering?
Did they feed him the speech in his ear, or did they rehearse it the whole, for days on end, Joe? What do you think?
I think that they do both. I know I've seen a lot of presidents with that earpiece. Bush was notorious for always having that earpiece in his ear. They have those teleprompters that look like glass. I didn't see that with that speech, but they are just literally just reading a speech that they've rehearsed.
Joe?
It's not any of their words. And by the way, Trump was the same way. I saw him do that a lot as well. especially with
at least,
Operation Warp Speed.
yeah, at least
Yeah.
George Bush, honestly, George Bush would stop and let the applause happen. Like it's called, speech timing.
Yeah, right,
If
right.
it was doing a comedy routine, it would be comedic timing.
Sure.
But since the
Yeah.
speech, you have to let well, he just kept it talking, but
I
Biden
know.
hit or not.
I
Talk,
know,
talk, talk,
right.
talk, talk, talk.
Right.
Plus, I don't think it was a real chamber. I really don't. I think it was a set.
I that's what I thought too. I thought something just doesn't seem right here. It
No.
didn't look right to me as well. That's exactly what I thought.
That's why they call us the conspiracy keepers, friends.
I know.
And in real time, since COVID hit and stadiums went to, and nobody can, but we'll have the game, and they started piping in the audio, which made it creepy. If you look at previous speeches based upon the people in the room, what the sound level should be of applause. Yes, cheers, hey! No, they were piping in applause because the number of people in the room was not matching the sound that room is supposed to give off, because we've been hearing it since Marconi invented the microphone.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can hear more of your reports tonight on YouTube, right, Scooter? Is it the Scooter McGee Show, or is it just Scooter McGee on?
I'm just Scooter McGee on YouTube. And the headlines, you can subscribe, because I'm now scheduling. We did this. I'm trying to schedule my show at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, just so it sits in the feed on YouTube Live. It's live every night, 1 a.m. Eastern, midnight Central, 11 Mountain, and 10 p.m. Pacific. And that's 8 a.m. Ukraine, Kiev time, and 9 a.m. Moscow time.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you. And then where can they see the Conspiracy Keepers, Joe?
We can have that. You can see it on our website, which is conspiracykeepers.com. You can see it on YouTube, but I don't really like going there because they don't like us. They've already deleted one of our shows for about 6 months ago. They haven't done it recently, but so go to our website, or you can go to theconspiracyzone.net, and I've got them all linked there. And I talk about stuff that we haven't talked about, like adrenochrome and all that other nasty stuff that we'll get to.
Nasty.
Okay, now, Joe, you brought it up. What about Bill Gates and now Melinda Gates's comments about Epstein? But you bring up, what's coming, technology and how they want it to be served. Why is Bill Gates now yapping? And more importantly, what is Melinda Gates yapping about?
Well, first of all, I don't believe
she
Melinda
admits now
Gates.
it's creepy, and she should have said something but didn't.
First of all, I don't think that's a she, but that's another story altogether. I mean, just look. I mean, come on.
Is she a Pat? Yeah, she's a Pat.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff going on there. So, but once again, I mean, that's a whole other can of worms. That's a complete hour in and of itself.
Well, but what do you make of Bill Gates suddenly popping back up on the radar?
Well, first of all, he's one of them. We know that. You can't believe anything that he says, but we know one thing, that he wants the population cut. He wants population control. He's openly said it.
He says it on TV.
He says it. So I just don't get how people can trust a vaccine from a guy who says he wants to eliminate a certain part of the population. What the heck is wrong with people?
Well, we have a war to think about now.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
That's
but
right.
in
Exactly.
talking of what we were talking about of puppets, is Gates a puppet or is Gates a puppeteer?
Oh, no, please. The former.
Yeah.
Gates is just another puppet.
Gosh, yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Almost everybody that you see on TV is a puppet. The people that are the bankers, the international bankers, the Rothschilds, you won't see them on TV. You won't see a documentary on them on CBS.
And you don't know their names.
Yeah, you really don't.
No.
You really don't. We might know some of them, especially some of the older generation, but we don't know how they've got their lineages out there all over the place, most likely. Absolutely.
So, okay, so let's go again. Let's see. I'm gone for a couple of days. I'm going on a secret mission to the underground underneath the pyramids for about 4 days.
Excellent.
You're going to get to the story, the bottom of the story of King Tutankhamun's iron, his alien, not knife. Yeah, it is a knife, not a sword. It's a knife. Never mind. Sorry, interrupted.
That's okay. We can talk about that. Oh my gosh, there's so much good juicy stuff underneath on the on the plain there.
Pisa Plateau.
Hmm. Anyway,
Okay.
okay, we talk about that next time.
All
Thanks
Fair
for
enough.
tuning in,
We will.
everybody.
All right, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good
Good night,
night.
Joe. Good night, Scooter.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye-bye.